Hola con todos, bienvenidos a nuestro webinar número 18, capítulo 18, Construyendo una nueva era con. Hoy tenemos un webinar un poco diferente, ya que dos de los tres panelistas son extranjeros que viven en el Ecuador hace muchos años y están haciendo una gran labor en diferentes áreas, y es por eso que los hemos invitado acá a nuestro webinar de hoy. Quiero darle las bienvenidas a Garrett Parker, a Robert Ross y a Ricardo Zambrano, que nos acompañan hoy en este live número 18. Un poco diferente porque también vamos aquí a mezclar un poco los idiomas, vamos a hablar entre inglés y español. Me adelanto un poco para las personas que van a ver este capítulo, sepan de antemano pues esto, ¿no? En honor pues a nuestros panelistas extranjeros. Así que welcome speakers Garrett, Robert, and Ricardo. Welcome to VR Live chapter 18. We call this webinar Building a New Era, and that's the idea, to tell people how you're doing, how you're building this new era. And algo diferente también es que los tres panelistas del día de hoy son de la ciudad de Manta. Así que esa hermosa ciudad, ese hermoso balneario, que es una combinación de construcciones nuevas, con playa, con mucho extranjero. Así que nuestros panelistas nos hablarán un poco la situación en Manta, qué está pasando, cuál es el futuro de Manta. Así que bienvenidos sean todos. We're going to start with Garrett Parker. I'm going to say Garrett Parker is an investor. He's the owner of ECP, Ecuadorian Coastal Properties. He's an economist. He was born in Alaska, and he went to he earned a scholarship to play college football in Georgia and Florida. After college, he followed his father down to Ecuador to take a look, and he's been here since 2008. Building a real estate powerhouse that will put Manta and Ecuador on the international map. He's also a part of the BR's magazine counseling. So I'm glad to have you here. He's my good friend also. And I'm very, very satisfied to have you here, Garrett. Hello, Garrett. Welcome. Welcome.
Hey. Muchas gracias, Andrés. Muchas gracias todos por la oportunidad. And ahorita yo cambio para inglés por la presentación para un ratito, por favor. But thank you very much. Very excited to be here. Yeah, there's been a lot of changes in the world. You know, we can start with that. I think every business in the world has had to look at their model and change and adapt to this new world. I'm going to go ahead and start out by kind of giving a background of, you know, like you were saying, where I'm from, how I ended up here, what we do, and then I'm going to tell you a lot about the changes in this new world. As you were saying,
I think you're an example of when some foreign person comes to Ecuador and see opportunities. And I'm sure that you've seen those opportunities, and you're working, you're doing a lot of stuff. I know what you're doing, so please share with us.
Yep. Yeah, thank you so much. So I have to give a lot of credit to my father. My father, when I was in college, he told me one day, son, I'm gonna go look and retire in another country. And for me, that was very new and foreign to hear. I'd never thought about leaving the USA. It was either going to be Florida, California, back to Alaska. And once my dad told me that, he took a trip. He went to Central America, to Mexico, to Costa Rica, to Nicaragua, to Panama, down to Colombia, to Ecuador, to Peru, to Chile. He came back to the USA where I was at college, and he told me, son, I'm moving to Manta, Ecuador, and I have a plan to really make this place what it needs to be and really develop and help this economy. And being younger and naive, I still didn't understand why. I didn't get it. So I took a trip over here with some friends. I checked out Manta. Now keep in mind, my father started this business 16 years ago. So when I came in, I've been living here now for 13 years. So when I came in, I saw what my dad was doing. And at the time, I still didn't really understand it. I mean, it was so many people that were coming here for a lot of different reasons. You know, everybody in the USA that looked to retire, Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama, but I can break those quickly down for you. Mexico has had its own problems and its own issues on why people don't go there as much to retire. Also, you can only own there for 100 years. So it has a lot of different stipulations on owning businesses and not, properties and not having an escritura, having a deed. Then Panama, the prices are almost double. The rain season, Costa Rica, you're looking at triple the price almost. So my father really fell in love with Monta because it was really underdeveloped when my father arrived. And like I said, when I arrived, it was still so underdeveloped. I mean, half of the buildings, and I'm gonna play a couple of videos quickly for you while I go ahead and talk about all this. But a lot of these buildings that you're gonna see right here, they weren't developed. Sorry guys, give me one sec. So a lot of these buildings that you're gonna see, these weren't here when I arrived. So our company is Ecuadorian Cultural Properties. We are a real estate powerhouse, but with that comes a lot of different duties. So number one, when I arrived, like I said, a lot of these buildings, developments were not here. So first things first, we got to work and we pretty much were venture capitalists. We would find money, help developers develop these big projects, buildings, ciudadelas, but we would help with the foreign investment. Then came the real estate, the bienes raíces. Then came the selling. So first, finding the money. Number two, selling the departamentos. Number three comes into rental managing. You know, a lot of these people, especially our market, a lot of people ask, why Monta? Why Monta? Why don't you come to Guayaquil? Guayaquil has this powerhouse, and I see it when I go to Guayaquil, tons of money. But the reality is our business has really been based around the foreign market. And the foreign market, the consumers, they want beach views. Yes. They want cheap cost of living. They want ceviches that can get, to your door for $3, get delivery to your door, along with, all the benefits that came with Ecuador. Being on the American dollar, that's huge for anybody from USA coming down, not having to switch currency. So being on the US dollar, the cost of living is affordable, the food's affordable. So those are some of the reasons that's kept me here for 13 years. And that's how I ended up down here. Like I said at the beginning, I thought my dad was absolutely crazy. And then I came down, I saw the vision, and we took off. And then after that, really, what came next was we were able to get on some major international TV shows. Yes. Sorry guys, give me one sec. So why Monta? Like I said, a lot of people say Guayaquil. For me, it's an international market. How do we get out there on the international market? How do we show the world Monta other than just marketing and those kind of things? Well, number one was we were able to be on a few different shows. Number one was International House Hunters International, which is an international TV show. It has over 20 million viewers on it. Another one, Beachfront Bargain. So here's a TV show that we did. I'll show you a brief moment of it. And this right here went out to about 20 million viewers in the USA. And just to give you an idea, once this airs, we get about 10 to 15,000 emails the day after. And this keeps repeating and repeating and repeating.
That was the show, right? That was the show that you did. How many from the mails, then the calls, then they get in touch with you? How many persons get to buy at the end?
Great question. Yep, because I throw a big number out there. There's 10 to 15,000 people that write, and we have it broken down right now. Broken down, about 15% are buyers,
Okay.
and then the rest, you have a lot of people that are looking to rent. I mean, because you know, in the USA, it's expensive to rent. In California, on the beach, in Florida, right on the beach, it's a whole nother price range. So we have a lot of renters also getting in touch with us. We have a lot of young entrepreneurs as well right now getting in touch with us, and I'll get to that with the change. So yes, we've been catered really to the foreign market. But with that said, being here so long and getting so connected with your magazine, your connections, and the network that we've really created, we also deal a lot with locals, right? We deal with locals here in Manta, Guayaquil, Quito. But I wanted to tell a lot of people out there, educate a few out there, especially in Guayaquil. You know, like I said, a lot of people have tried to get me to come to Guayaquil, and you know, a big difference right off the bat at an extranjero that's gonna buy here versus a local that's gonna buy here. The biggest difference is extranjeros cannot get any loans, period. You cannot go to a bank here and get a loan if you're a foreigner. So when you're buying a $250,000 condo, you're paying $250,000 cash. So that's a lot of the clientele that we're dealing with is big time money and getting paid right away. Now we do work with the local market. So I'll kind of get into the new world of which we switched since COVID has hit. You know, since COVID-19's come into effect and changed everybody's lives, it's definitely changed the way that we work, the way that we market, the way that we move. There's a reason that right now I'm here at the house instead of our office with a bunch of people. You know, but number one, starting off was, you know, when these people watch the show or they find us, you know, we go way above and beyond versus a regular real estate agent here dealing with a local who knows Manta, who knows where to go shopping, who knows where to go for those restaurants. Our clientele, when they come down, they have no idea. They have no idea where to go shopping, how to get insurance. We have to show them everything to make them as comfortable as possible. And really, there's a learning curve when you get here, right? There's number one is Espanol, no more English. Now we're very fortunate that there's a lot of people here that speak English, but not everybody does. So I mean, you know, it's really we're really taking clients around, holding their hand, and showing them how to live here. Which is a huge step for everybody. There's a big learning curve, but you know, for when all this happened, the COVID-19, I mean, everything's changed. At first, I had a lot of cancellations. I had a lot of people lined up coming down, and suddenly people were canceling left and right because nobody knew. There was so much unknown. So obviously we were very worried about that. We're like, wow, everybody's canceling. And what are we gonna do? So all of a sudden, we started getting a lot of calls from a lot of local clients in Quito. Now, why is that? Why would Quiteños suddenly start calling and wanting to come down? So put yourself in their position. The clientele from Quito, they were stuck in the mountains. They were in lockdown in the mountains. The food supply, everything was tough up in the mountains. A whole different vibe, a whole different element being up in the mountains. So suddenly we started to get a lot of people from Quito, investors, buyers, who we had a huge rush of people who wanted to get out of the city and get to the coast.
Yes.
And why Manta? Manta is a city. Manta is the biggest city on the coast. We have an airport. One day we'll be international. Right now it's not, but one day will. So we have an airport, we have grocery stores, we have all the amenities that you would need. We have, you know, even though schools are shut down, you know, we're all hoping schools get back. So we have the schools and the infrastructure. We don't have the shortage of water. So we have all these amenities that make it nice and easy for whether it's someone from Quito coming down or someone from the USA or Canada or UK or Europe. Manta is a very comfortable spot for a lot of people because of those amenities. But that was one of the biggest changes we saw, was a lot of clients from Quito coming to buy. And then the next, what happened was, you know, a lot of people canceled in the USA, but suddenly, because I remember when it happened here, I feel like it hit here first. Like before it hit USA, I was calling friends in Florida and they were calling friends in California and they're like, oh no, nothing's going on here. And I'm like, wow, we're in lockdown. And they're just like living life like it was fine. And I was my goodness. And then next thing you knew, it hit the USA very hard. And the domino effect over there was businesses closed. California, I mean, I know Robert can talk a lot more about it. Robert lived in California, but California, I don't want to say the whole state, but a lot of companies are shut down. Manhattan and California, Georgia right now is where we're getting a lot of our leads. So Manhattan, half of it shut down. You have millionaires over there with big time businesses that are shut down. And so I think what this did was, and I think you guys can all maybe really identify with this, was this gave everybody in the world time to see what they really want to do next. Whether it's if you want to move, start living your life in a different area, whether it's a new job because you're not happy. I mean, all the above, it gave everybody time to say, you know what, this is a reset button. And so for us, at first, like I said, people were canceling, but then it was a domino and spiral effect over there in the USA. Businesses were going out. You can't eat inside. I mean, so many things were happening to where now, and even 3-4 months after, clients were calling us all over. We're getting about 40 emails a day and about 50 calls, leads a day through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through Instagram, all day of people saying, hey, I'm in Manhattan. I have this amount of money. My business is done. I'm done working here. I want to come retire and live my life down there. What can I get for this amount of money? And that's where we start working right away. And we start, I mean, really, we, like I said, venture capitalists, we also become financial advisors. Because like, you know, the average person from Ecuador, they know where to go buy stuff. They know where to go, what Mega Maxi is. They know how to go to the Farmacia. They know how to, but the gringos, extranjeros, they don't know. They have no idea. So we don't only become their real estate agent, financial advisor, advising them where to buy, how to buy. We show everything. And also,
quick question: were these foreign buyers? What's a typical purchase for them? What are they looking for generally?
Yeah, really good question. So I would say before the pandemic and before COVID-19, I would say 90% was departamentos, 90%. Now that's changed. I'd say 50-50. So a lot of people that are coming in, now they're looking for space, a house, and land. You know, because when you're in departamentos and edificios and buildings, you know, you're stacked on top of each other. There's pros and cons to both. I mean, the nice thing about the departamento is you buy a place here, you want to leave, you have neighbors, you can leave. Now, when you buy a house out in the, let's say, you know, on the coast somewhere, you're gonna have, if you leave, you have to have maybe a guardia, a guard. You have to have somebody, a rental manager. So, but we're seeing a lot more people right now really wanting homes, and also in Manta. Outside of Manta, we've had a lot of people looking for places down in the Montañita area, the Alone area, the Ayampe area, the Playas area, even Salinas. But, you know, a lot of it comes back to Manta because, as I said, of the amenities. We have hospitals.
What's the supply in Manta like? Are there a lot of condos for sale right now? Is there a lot of land for sale? How is the supply for these foreign investors and buyers?
Yeah, so right now that's a great question. Yeah, right now I'd say there's quite a bit of inventory available right now.
So that's
all the above.
Condo,
yeah, condos. We have tons of condos for sale right now, and not only for sale, but you know, our job is to make sure that we get anybody the best price, and that's why it's so important to go through a company like ours, because I know a lot of the owners. I know what they'll take. I know what they need. I know who needs money. I know who's not going to come off the budget. And so, yeah, I'd say right now, a lot of condos. We have a lot of condos available. We have a lot of land available, but land is getting sold quick. People from USA, Canada, and like I said, a lot of Quiteños are coming down. They're buying land. Whether they're building now is a different story, but they're buying the land, especially in Ciudad del Mar. Ciudad del Mar, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a little video while I tell you. But, you know, Ciudad del Mar is a beautiful Ciudadela here. And we're having properties over there going daily. People coming down looking at least. And then, you know, our sales, as you can see, this is a building right here that we developed. And all the land you see around it is all for development. And it's going to give you a little bit more tour through. So this is on the.
Garrett, what are the differences between like an Ecuadorian buyer and an international buyer?
Wow, there's a lot of differences. I mean, what they have in common is they both want to buy. But as I was kind of saying earlier, you know, a lot of the buyers from outside, they're coming with they have to use cash. So if it's $250,000 for the house, they're putting down $250,000. Now, sometimes we can work out some in-house financing with the owner, depending on who the owner is. And also you're doing a lot more touring, showing them around. Like I was saying, you know, when you're from here, you know where to go, you know the language, you know a lot of the things that we don't have to teach you. So, and then working with locals here, I would definitely say that, you know, locals meaning people from Quito, Guayaquil, Manta, all over. I mean, number one, a lot of them are coming with, they're going through the bank and getting loans. So when a extranjero comes, when a gringo comes, when an American, Canadian comes, they want to buy, it's cash, and we can usually close a deal pretty quick in 2 weeks. It can be that quick. Now, when we deal with locals and they're going through the banks, that can take up to 6 months.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You know, we've had it done as quick as 2 months, but with the banks here, I mean, the banks will say, hey, yep, you're good to go. You've been pre-approved. It's going to be, the funds are going to be ready in 30 days. Well, that 30 days turns into 3 months, and that's very typical.
Maybe the local also go with you and maybe see other company or see some units by themselves, but the foreign people go with you. You're his host. I know you have been host.
Yep.
You have host me, my family and me, and you're
Yep.
one of the best hosts. So you show Manta, the food and everything. So I think the foreign people like se entregan.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But you know, as I've established myself here, I just have so many, like my main group of friends are all locals, right?
Yeah.
And they've seen what I do, and they've all, I mean, real estate here in this country is so behind. And I mean that in a way. In the USA, it's so regulated. You have to have a license and all those kind of things here really don't exist yet, which I wish they did.
They're not enforced.
So, but yes, they're not enforced yet.
Big difference.
Big difference. So, but my local friends, you know, over the years, they say, hey, so I see what you do. And now they're at a point to where they're looking to buy. And a lot of them are coming to me, say, hey, I want to start my real estate portfolio with you. I want to start, number one, I have 2 kids. I want to start. So that's where the financial advisor comes in. I'd sit them down. What's your budget? What's your plan? Maybe they already have a house, but they have some money to invest. So we start looking at the best investments, maybe deal with some land, buy some land, sit on it, develop it eventually, or get it at a good price right now when it was low and sell it later when it's high. So I've, with a lot of locals, I've really started to work probably the last 5 years with a lot of local friends, which has really grown and grown. I'm starting a lot of local portfolios for clients here.
Hey, Garrett, how many times a year are you doing those TV shows that drive all those leads?
Yeah, so it's usually about 2 a year.
2 a year?
We usually do about 2 a year. And in the last 3 years, we've changed it up. I used to just do Manta. It was always Manta, Manta, Manta. And then they called and they said, you know what, we're looking at doing a show. So in 2019, I did 2 shows, one in Quito, and I featured Cumbaya, those areas, very nice. And then I also did one in Ayampe, which was a nice change, because here we're showing Manta, but you know, you can only show this so many times in the fish markets and the different places. So it was nice to change it up and to touch on different aspects, you know, because Manta's unreal for the amenities, but I'll be the first one to tell you, it's not the most beautiful city on the coast. You know, it's just not. Now, to live comfortably with all the amenities, absolutely. But, you know, there's some beautiful areas such as, you know, down south, you know, the Puerto Lopez alone, Montañita. Those are beautiful, beautiful beaches.
I think it's because Manta combines like a city and a beach. So that's
absolutely
the difference, because maybe you have other beaches that maybe nicer or longer, but if you think about your family, schools, malls, supermarkets and everything, even a shopping mall, I think Manta is the only place in the whole coast that you have everything.
Right.
Maybe Salinas is the second one, but I think Manta is like the first big city that is beachfront, right?
It is. And just to throw in a little bit of info, and I won't get too much into this, but we get a lot of questions, Manta versus Salinas. Why shouldn't I go to Salinas? Why should I come to Manta? And this is what I say, and this is my opinion, and I have backed up with some facts and some analytics and things, but really,
And a lot of people right now.
That's right, yeah. But for me, it's my wife, they have a beautiful place in Salinas, right on the beach. And so what I've seen over the years, it's really a hub for people from Guayaquil that have money that go there for the weekends. So if you're looking for a place just for the weekend or come here once a week out of the year, 2 weeks, Salinas is great. The tourism is great. It's set up nicely. But if you're looking to live and invest, Manta, there's no comparison. This is a full-time city. We have a port here. We have industry here. They don't compare. But not to take away from Salinas. Salinas is gorgeous. I mean, it is very, very nice. I love it over there. But if I was going to live somewhere, it's Manta.
Yeah, that you said something like, if you want to live in front of beach, is Manta. If you want to go on a holiday, maybe Salinas, Punta Blanca. There's a lot of beaches.
That's right. And also opportunities. You have more of a city, people coming and going. We have the airport. We have the airplanes that go here to Quito daily, about 3 flights. So right now, like I just saw that they just started a new Cevicheria Guayaco right here. I think it's a big brand over there in Guayaquil, a big franchise. So there's a lot of opportunity here. They really don't compare, but Salinas is a great place. And also I want to definitely state a few things about our business, the booms, it's always like this. Business is like this, up and down. And anytime that we have a new president-elect in USA, there's always a major rush and a boom of people coming down here. So I can take you back to when Obama won. Obama won, and I was down here, and we had so many people coming with different versions of what they thought was going to happen in the USA because of Obama. It was Democrats, it was Republicans, it was both. It wasn't just one, it was both. So we had a big rush. Now you fast forward 8 years later, Trump wins. And wow, we had a major boom. People thought all kinds of things, and maybe they were right. So we had a major boom. Now, as we're talking about what this is pertaining to, change. How have we changed? The people back home, Trump just lost. So we have a new president. So right there, we have a boom. It's happening. And then you put on top of that COVID-19. And it's a lot of people back home not happy right now with what's going on, not just because maybe their president lost and the president won. I mean, you have both right and lefts not happy, period. I'm dealing with both sides. But you put the COVID-19 on top of all that, and it's just really, it goes back to what I said. It's a reset time. It's a reset button. It's giving people time to think what they want to do next. And the new president-elect, and it's always a political boom. So that's definitely added to the rush coming down. And in the beginning, when this all happened, when COVID-19 hit here, the prices dropped like crazy. Those first 2 months, prices, something that was 200,000 dropped to 150, 125. I mean, it was the best time to buy. And it still is a great time to buy. There's still great prices out there. But as we fast forward a year later, what we saw was the prices went down so much, all of a sudden, boom, 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 everything started to sell. And so a lot of the people like out in Ciudad del Mar who have beautiful lots, they drop the price. But now the price is going up because they've seen the demand. So that's really, really good for the clients, for us, for the economy. But at the same time, for everything. But at the same time, you can still find amazing deals. And like I said, that's why it's so important to go through a company like ours that know the market, that know the sellers, that knows the inventory to make sure that we get you the best deal possible.
Yes, that's why you're part of BR Magazine, and that's why you're here. To show people what's the deal with Garrett Parker and ECP. What the COVID also told us is like how you want to work. So I think like people from Quito or foreign people that they do work from home, they can do it wherever they are in the world. So they want to choose a nice city, beachfront, and have
Yep.
a nice
Yeah,
life.
a good example of that right now is we're in touch with a lot of people from Google and from Amazon. So they're based out of San Francisco. Half of San Francisco shut down. They're paying $4,000 to $5,000 a month to live and work from home right now. So our pitch has been, why not live from a beautiful condo, a home where you can buy or rent, let's say for $1,000 a month with a beautiful view, and work from here. So it hasn't been easy by the slightest bit, but we got to keep going. We have to keep going. We can't stop. We won't stop. I put way too much time and effort. I love Ecuador. Ecuador is home for me. I have no plans on returning to the USA for work. This is home for me.
You see yourself here, retiring here in Manta?
I absolutely do. You know, we'll see where that retirement place is. It might not be Manta, but I'm definitely gonna live in Manta for a while. My wife is from Guayaquil, so I'm married to the country. I love this country. I miss the USA. You know, there's no doubt about it, but you look at the news, what's going on over there. I feel very fortunate where we live. As I was saying, people from Quito, they were in the mountains. You know, here we have the ocean, we have the elements, we have the fish, we have, you know, we're very, very fortunate to have these amazing elements right at our doorstep. I was gonna show you guys a nicer view, but I was so dark, but I mean, literally, I'm right on the ocean.
Yes.
This is our view. This is why we live here.
To envy.
You know, this is why we live here. People say, Garrett, come on, come to Guayaquil. You know, I love Guayaquil. I'll be in Guayaquil all the time, in and out. But this is one reason we're here, guys.
Yes.
See all these buildings? These buildings weren't here when I moved here. And this has been all of our work that we put in.
Yes. Yes. I'm present in what you have done. Since I heard you, like a lot of buildings they were going to like just start building, and now they're all sold and people live there.
Like I said, I thought my dad was crazy, and then I came down and I saw what was going on, and like really quick, I'll end on this is one of our latest projects, and this shows you it's keeping on going. It hasn't stopped. We have to keep going. There's people coming down that need a change, that need condos, that need homes, that need land. And we're here for those guys to help them. Here's one of our latest projects right here.
That's Riva di Mar. Beautiful. I saw it. Beautiful. So if you go to Manta, make sure to ask for the Gringo Garrett Parker. Everybody knows him. Everybody knows him. Okay, my friend. Thank you very much for being here. Please stay here with us. And Ricardo, we're going to
thank you guys.
go with you. Thank you, guys.
Hey, really quick, I just want to say one thing, and I'm sorry.
No.
Like you said, if you come to Manta, get in touch. We have condos for rent, condos for sale, homes for sale, land for sale. Also, I just want to end on, thank you so much for having me a part of this. I feel honored. I want to give a shout out to BR Magazine, all the guys in the fraternity, JP Costa, there's so many to name off, JP Costa, Antuco Plaza, all you guys, big hug, thank you guys, and thank you.
Thank you, my friend. Stay here, ¿no? Stay with us. Segundo, bueno, Garrett Parker es responsable de muchos extranjeros que se han retirado y viven en Manta, así que él es el responsable de tener bastantes gringos por allá. Así que si quieren una ciudad frente al mar, ya saben que Manta es una excelente opción. Hoy por hoy que muchas personas están trabajando desde casa, pueden hacerlo, ¿por qué no hacerlo frente al mar? Nuestro segundo panelista es Ricardo Zambrano. Ricardo Zambrano, ¿cómo estás, Ricardo? Bienvenido. Ricardo se ha desarrollado por muchos años como promotor inmobiliario. En sus haberes tiene proyectos como el edificio Mónaco, que lo vimos y aquí nos lo van a enseñar, edificio Niza, edificio Ross Suites, conjuntos habitacionales, Ciudad Azteca y Valentina. Todos estos proyectos forman parte de la inmobiliaria y constructora INOTECA, que es pues representada por Ricardo. Ricardo, bienvenido. Me comentabas un poco que tú eres el protagonista detrás de los proyectos, el mentalizador, el ejecutor. Cuéntanos un poquito, complementando un poco, ya que estamos pues enfocados en el sector de Manta. Cuéntanos un poco el tema de los proyectos inmobiliarios. Sé que les cogió la pandemia en plena construcción, en plena venta de un proyecto pues que ya prácticamente están saliendo. Y cuéntanos un poco tu experiencia durante todo este tiempo.
Gracias, Andrés. Buenas tardes. Saludo a todos. Gracias por la invitación. Bueno, acá en Manta, pues como ya tú bien lo has señalado y como también lo dijo Garrett, debemos continuar. O sea, no hay chance a parar, no hay chance a dejar, digamos...
Te puso el mute. Tú puedes quitar el mute.
Ahí. Entonces, como te comentaba Andrés, pues hay que seguir y no ha sido fácil porque nosotros por lo menos como constructora ya teníamos algunos proyectos en ejecución y con un compromiso bancario, digamos, ya estipulado, era muy difícil parar, porque si tú paras también pierde la confianza al cliente y el cliente no invierte en tu proyecto. De los pocos que había en un mercado tan comprimido en ese momento, que recién se está reactivando por el tema de que nadie quiere invertir por tanta incertidumbre, no solamente a nivel de COVID. Recuerda, Andrés, que aquí acabamos de tener una elección y vamos a una elección en segunda vuelta y hay mucha gente que está esperando ese tema político, que también es siempre muy importante para decisiones que la gente toma. Pero bueno, siempre le vemos el lado positivo y siempre, como dice el dicho, ver el vaso medio lleno más que medio vacío. Entonces tenemos que continuar, hay que reinventarse. Yo te puedo decir que mucha gente está buscando, porque vivienda es tal también un tema básico, ¿no? Es como comida, agua. La población sigue creciendo y la demanda por viviendas continúa, ¿no? Y ante esa situación, pues nosotros estamos en un mercado que siempre tiene una necesidad. Y puedo comentarte así, a grosso modo, que las cosas van cambiando y tiene que uno reinventarse. Por ejemplo, ¿cuándo fue la última vez que utilizaste tu sala para recibir a tus invitados? No sé tu caso, pero acá por lo menos en nuestros estudios de mercado, la gente está prefiriendo dejar una sala muy pequeña y priorizar un patio más amplio, ¿no? Entonces nosotros estamos también trabajando en ese tipo de reinvenciones, adaptándonos a las nuevas necesidades que nos ha traído este tema. Había gente que consideraba que un cuarto de estudio era un espacio desperdiciado. Ahorita, con todo esto del teletrabajo y el tema de la nueva forma de laborar, todo el mundo está considerando un tema de un espacio para una oficina. Yo personalmente en Mónaco, por ejemplo, tuve que un poco cambiar a última hora la arquitectura y los diseños de los departamentos, dejando espacios para un tema de un espacio específicamente para temas de teletrabajo y oficina. Muchos clientes que están en el tema de seguros, que están en el tema de la academia, que son profesores, necesitaban este espacio y yo tuve que un poco adaptarme a esas necesidades, ¿no?
Inclusive para el homeschool, o sea, para la escuela de los niños, inclusive se necesita un espacio, ¿no? Ese estudio es muy acertado hoy por hoy en las construcciones.
Qué bueno que lo mencionas porque justo el día de hoy tuve una pequeña reunión con la profesora de mi hija, que, bueno, mi hija está en Inicial 2, no está obligada a asistir a una escuela, pero veo que ella se aburre mucho en casa, entonces le puse una pequeña profesora y ella me dice que la niña en la sala se entretiene mucho porque mi otro hijo pasa cada rato, entonces me dice, necesito un espacio. Obviamente yo tengo pensado en algún momento de mi vida tener una casa, pero por ahora vivo en un departamento. Entonces te pongo como ejemplo mi caso, porque tienes razón, ahora este tema no sabemos hasta cuándo dure, pero por ejemplo, Andrés, yo he hablado con mucha gente y me ha dicho que se ha inclinado por el homeschool. Y me dicen que es tan bueno porque, por ejemplo, el niño solamente está 1 o 2 horas diarias en el homeschool, aprende más en esas 2 horas, tal vez porque es personalizado, y tiene el resto del día para jugar. Yo recién me estoy enterando que hay entidades que se dedican al tema también del apostillamiento de los documentos para los niños, para que le den el pase de año, no tengan problemas con el Ministerio de Educación. Entonces,
Antes de pandemia, inclusive.
cómo está cambiando el mundo, ¿no? En todo
Así es.
sentido, y eso también hace que los promotores inmobiliarios tengamos que adaptarnos y reinventarnos y adaptarnos a esas necesidades particulares de la gente, ¿no?
Así es. No, incluso antes de la pandemia yo ya conocía personas que hacían homeschool y es un tema pues que es una opción, ¿no? Y hoy por hoy que estamos obligados, muchas personas han encontrado en eso una buena. Entonces, hay que reinventarse. El que no se reinventa muere, porque las cosas cambian día a día. Y efectivamente, ¿no? En el tema de, tú también manejas pues una empresa de distribución de materiales de construcción. La construcción definitivamente se ha reactivado en Manta. Una pregunta, Ricardo. Las viviendas que tú construyes están enfocadas al extranjero, al que vacaciona o al residente de Manta local o todos?
No, en los conjuntos habitacionales que hemos hecho, más el enfoque es para personas locales. Son casas de 50.000, 60.000 dólares, más bien para clase media. Y bueno, más bien el producto que tenemos un poco para extranjeros es, por ejemplo, Mónaco, estos departamentos que tenemos en zona de Barranquilla, Niza. Allí pues también nos dedicamos un poco al tema de arriendos temporales y permanentes y asimismo venta de departamentos. Nosotros siempre andamos buscando todo tipo de mercados y necesidades. Por ejemplo, surgió un estudio que determinaba que no hay ningún producto, por ejemplo, para afiliados en el IES con el básico. Personas que tienen acceso a un crédito de entre 20 y 25.000 dólares. Entonces, estamos trabajando en un proyecto para personas afiliadas con un sueldo básico, por ejemplo. Eso es como para comentarte un poco en lo que estamos trabajando, buscando pues oportunidades en el mercado.
Ese es Mónaco, ¿no? Ahí estamos viendo el video de Mónaco.
Sí, bueno, es un producto interesante. Dentro del estudio de mercado que hicimos, pues hubo más una preferencia por departamentos de 3 dormitorios. Siempre, pues, lo que más surge en nuestros estudios es que los espacios que más, digamos, que se ponderan, sobre todo por parte de las mujeres, es el baño, el closet y la cocina. Entonces, son departamentos muy amplios, con baños muy amplios, cocinas amplias, closets bastante amplios e interesantes, como para comentarte un poco de este proyecto en particular. Y bueno, el tema, pues, en nuestras proyecciones financieras, había una proyección, obviamente, que no se cumplió por lo que todos sabemos, y ha sido un reto bastante duro y a la vez interesante, porque si bien es cierto, gracias a Dios no tuvimos ningún cliente que se haya retirado del proyecto, pero sí tuvimos que refinanciar a esos clientes sus cuotas de entrada, tuvimos que ver formas y mecanismos de ayudarlos a ellos un poco también a poder cumplir con sus obligaciones en cuanto a los departamentos se refería, pero en cambio a nosotros que nos financia una entidad bancaria no fue tan fácil porque para los bancos en ciertos productos no hubo mayores facilidades y bueno, se entiende, los bancos también tienen que cumplir con sus flujos, pero bueno, fue todo un reto y tuvimos también que ver la forma de poder cumplir con nuestros flujos de efectivo para poder también continuar en obra. Estos tiempos, te lo digo yo como promotor, se está manejando mucho el tema de canjes, intercambio de servicios. Yo requiero un servicio de transporte, tú requieres un departamento. Bueno, dame transporte, te doy un departamento, productos. Entonces se manejó bastante canje a nivel de contratistas, subcontratistas y clientes también.
Correcto. Bueno, sí, es una figura que acá en Guayaquil, en San Borondón, se ve bastante en las ciudades las grandes también. Y definitivamente, a todo nivel. También el canje es una herramienta de mover las cosas, de salir. Pero bueno, ya han salido con Mónaco. Mónaco ya está ya ha terminado.
Sí, ya estamos en la etapa final, nada más haciendo unos pequeños retoques de pintura. Y sí, gracias a Dios, pues estamos ya al 100%.
Ya.
Y nos toca enfrentar pues el tema de los proveedores, pero estamos saliendo gracias a Dios y esperando pues terminar algunas ventas finales para poder cumplir con todo lo que aún tenemos pendiente.
Futuros proyectos, Ricardo.
Por el momento lo que te comenté, este proyecto habitacional un poco enfocado para sectores más populares, casas un poco más económicas y eso, por el momento eso, y bueno, a nivel macro, tenemos un proyecto que Garrett y ICP lo conoce, que se llama Manta Ciudad Inteligente, que queda en el sector tercero. Hay un terreno interesante de más o menos 500 hectáreas, que es muy grande, y se quiere pues hacer ahí una mini ciudad inteligente con otro tipo de concepto. Por ejemplo, ser muy amigable al peatón, aceras bastante amplias y holgadas, y obviamente una mini ciudad con todos los servicios. Estamos queriendo invitar a hospitales, universidad y servicios imanes que se denominan, ¿no? Entonces estamos
Así es.
en ese tema, pero que está un poco más lejano por la magnitud del proyecto, buscando socios estratégicos que, bueno, esperamos encontrarlos en el corto plazo para poder hacer una especie de fideicomiso que nos permita sacarlo adelante de alguna manera.
Qué bueno, realmente ese es el futuro de todas las ciudades viejas pues se están transformando y las ciudades nuevas las están haciendo justamente con ese concepto, ¿no? Más peatonal, ciclovías, vehículos eléctricos, más amigables, áreas verdes, utilización óptima de los recursos, y es lo que nos toca, ¿no? Y sobre todo a ustedes, los promotores y constructores, pensar en eso, ¿no? Pensar en ayudar también al medio ambiente y al planeta, pues, ¿no? Con las construcciones que hagan.
Así
Perfecto, Ricardo. Te agradezco muchísimo el proyecto que estás enfocándolo a un target socioeconómico bajo. Me parece un aporte buenísimo, darle una vivienda digna a alguien pues que tenga un ingreso reducido y que pueda adquirir una casa. Para cerrar, Ricardo, cuéntanos un poquito de Manta. Tú pues has estado muy vinculado al desarrollo de Manta todo, por tu familia y por todos los años vinculado al sector público de Manta. Entonces, cuéntanos un poco cómo ha ido creciendo Manta, el Manta que tú conociste cuando eras chico, al Manta de ahora y al Manta que se viene. Unas breves palabras.
Por datos oficiales y del gobierno, Manta es la ciudad con el mayor porcentaje de crecimiento a todo nivel, ¿no? Y lo que te puedo decir es que han habido algunos hitos importantes en la ciudad y ciertas cosas que se deberían considerar para tomar en cuenta el porqué del desarrollo de Manta. Bueno, aparte del tema turístico que ustedes estaban mencionando con Garrett, recuerda que Manta también es bastante comercial e industrial. Una de las principales empresas del país está acá y es orgullosamente mantense, la Fabril, por ejemplo, ¿no? Sin dejar de lado todas las pesqueras, el tema de las exportadoras, hay mucho comercio internacional, tenemos un puerto, tenemos un aeropuerto, y el crecimiento de Manta pues se ha venido dando de manera exponencial, un crecimiento bárbaro. Algunos gobiernos también han puesto sus ojos acá en la ciudad y han apostado al tema de Manta, y hemos también contado con el apoyo de la confianza en la inversión privada, bastantes empresarios privados de Quito sobre todo, como este grupo de los Banderas, el arquitecto Miranda, que han hecho, pues, como te enseñaba Garrett en los videos, unos edificios espectaculares que nos han permitido que Manta esté hoy por hoy en los ojos del mundo, ¿no? Y ya antes de la pandemia teníamos ya eventos internacionales, por ejemplo, el Ironman, el Manta Challenger, el de tenis, que es un torneo ATP. Tuvimos recientemente el Gran Fondo de Nueva York, un torneo ciclístico bastante interesante. Entonces, tuvimos también los Juegos Sudamericanos de Playa hace algunos años. Entonces ya Manta pues venía en este tema de su auge, que pues venía creciendo a pasos agigantados, y yo creo que el tema no se va a detener por este tema. Es un tema temporal lo que estamos atravesando, pero el tema sigue. Sé de buena fuente que hay muchos proyectos que están ya pues en su etapa de estudios. Por ejemplo, Pablo Campana acaba de hacer una inversión en la ex escuela de pesca y tengo entendido que van a hacer unas torres que van a ser promocionadas en Bélgica, en Estados Unidos y me parece que en China, en una cierta región de Asia, alrededor de dato extraoficial, porque me lo dijo una persona cercana, pero no tengo la fuente oficial, que son 400 apartamentos. Entonces, yo digo, ¿no? Si de repente se está haciendo eso es porque un estudio determina que está justificado el proyecto. Entonces, en algún momento también vi en una revista que Ecuador está en el top 5 de destinos para retirados, personas que quieren retirarse, y siendo Cuenca la número 1 y seguida no por mucho por Manta, como un destino para retiro, ¿no? Por sus climas, por su gastronomía, como decía Garrett, hay gente que, por ejemplo, se jubila y recibe una pensión mensual de $2,000. Eso, por ejemplo, yo tengo una tía que es jubilada y vive en Boston. Me dice, mijito, con esto yo no vivo, sobrevivo. pero yo con eso en Manta soy una reina. Entonces, ahí tú vas dándote la idea de que, bueno, es una gran opción para esto, porque son un país dolarizado y más económico. Entonces, eso y muchos otros factores han hecho que Manta esté hoy por hoy en los ojos del mundo, y yo espero y aspiro de todo corazón que así se mantenga, porque es la ciudad que yo amo y que he visto crecer. Cuando yo nací, las calles eran de polvo, teníamos muy poco asfalto por acá, basura por montones en todos lados, pero bueno, ha habido un crecimiento y un desarrollo muy interesante y esperemos que así se mantenga la ciudad.
Así es. No, Ricardo, yo te felicito. Comencé a ir a Manta desde hace algunos años, que me invitó acá a Garrett, y he ido varias veces. Es una ciudad, iba a decir un balneario, pero no, es una ciudad que queda en la playa y que combina lo mejor de la ciudad con lo mejor de la playa. Es fantástico, la comida es maravillosa, así que yo pues te felicito e invito a las personas. Yo sin ningún interés personal, pero promuevo mucho Manta. Lo veo como una ciudad que queda frente al mar. Está solo 3 horas de Guayaquil, o sea, es cerca, ¿no? O sea, realmente es cerca para ir un fin de semana, irse una semana a la playa, comer súper rico, mariscos deliciosos, estar frente al mar. Tiene una diversidad de playas impresionante, diferentes. También pues tengo entendido que es uno de los puntos de kitesurf mejores del planeta, inclusive tienen mucho turismo por eso, o sea, y tienen muchos extranjeros, ¿no? O sea, incluso la diversidad de personas hacen que sea cada vez una ciudad más interesante. Así que, Ricardo, muchísimas gracias por tu aporte y por lo que nos has compartido el día de hoy. Quédate por aquí con nosotros, por favor, para escuchar al tercer panelista.
Sí, finalizo, Andrés, agradeciéndote a ti por la invitación, a Garrett por haberme recomendado, tomarme en cuenta siempre, y como te dije anteriormente, siempre a las órdenes, y muy de acuerdo contigo. Manta, la única ciudad playa del país, bueno, con respeto a Salinas, que también tiene todos los servicios, pero Manta y Salinas pues son las playas, ciudad que tienen todos los servicios como moles, hospitales y todo lo que necesitas para vivir, ¿no? Entonces, muy agradecido por la invitación y siempre a las órdenes.
No, a ti, Ricardo. Nosotros en BR también hemos hecho algunos artículos de Manta, y es fantástico realmente. Así que ya no hay que decir mucho, y las personas tienen que ir a Manta realmente a conocer y a comer y a vivir esa experiencia. Y bueno, como tercer panelista, nos cambiamos el switch a inglés. We have Robert Ross. I'm going to read a little bit of Robert with us. Robert is a developer, owner and president of ME Hotel and Villas, Montañita Estates in Montañita, Ecuador. Montañita Estates is a private community overlooking Montañita, Ecuador, and MI Hotel consists in 15 condos, 2 luxury homes, 15 hotel rooms, 2 pools, restaurant, spa, yoga studio, gym, sailing, and over 2 hectares of property in Montañita. Montañita Estates is the only private community in Montañita with multiple different condos for sale and 20 lots for sale and private residence. Robert has lived in Montañita for 10 years, and before he moved to Ecuador, he worked in the financial service and high-tech and consulting industry for Grid Bank and a counter based out of Los Angeles. Robert has 2 kids born in Ecuador, Maddox and Naya, and spent all free time surfing and kite surfing. Robert is also the host of the Nomad Business and Lifestyle podcast, of a podcast for professionals who have set up business in paradise. Robert, welcome, Robert. I have heard a lot of you from Garrett and other people. Start, please, Robert. How come Ecuador? How come you came to Ecuador? And then please extend your words.
Yeah, thanks, Andres. It's good to talk to everyone, and I appreciate you having me on. I really don't have a lot of contact with Guayaquil, so it's actually really good to introduce myself to people in Guayaquil, since I've been here 10 years, kind of developing different projects in Montañita and alone. So yeah, I came here the first time in 2003, actually, to go surfing. And I came to Montañita in Peru. I went down to Peru. And that's when I discovered Montañita the first time. And I came back a bunch of times after really surfing the entire world and decided that Ecuador and Montañita was the place for me. So I moved here for good in 2011, and I've been here since developing Montañita Estates. So for the people who aren't familiar with Montañita Estates, I'm just gonna pull up a video.
Please.
Let me share this. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, here's my my contact for everybody who wants. So yeah, so I've been here 10 years. I split my time between Montañita and Santa Marinita, which is why I think I got invited to a Monta podcast, but we'll do a little turn and talk about Montañita and Alone a little bit, because I can also help to kind of contrast Montañita and Alone to Monta and Salinas. I've really done a lot of traveling and developing up the entire coast. So I stumbled onto this place to surf, and I've been here ever since. For everyone that's not familiar with Montañita Estates, here's a quick video to introduce it. Here's the main building. We're on a hill overlooking Montañita. Montañita has changed a tremendous amount in the last 10 years, but we are the only private development in Montañita right now. We've got 15 condos and villas. We also have 15 hotel rooms. The total space of the project is about 3 hectares, actually, not 2 hectares. There's 1 hectare that's being developed as part of the hotel. Right now, it's about 2,000 square meters of construction in 6 different buildings with a yoga studio, a restaurant. We have over 20 lots for sale with ocean views overlooking Montañita. And then we have a plaza under construction as well. So here's one of the parts of the hotel. You can see the main building, which is 4 villas. That's how I started. I actually started off as a vacation rental before I kind of understood the market out here a little bit. And I can talk about how the market's evolving when we talk about pandemic trends. Here's the matrimonials. We've got some lofts here. We have a restaurant here. Here's the main pool. There's a couple pools. The yoga studio is over here to the right. And then I'm gonna keep playing because there's different parts. Here's the second pool with 2 more buildings for hotel rooms. This is another building that we have that's nearby in the entire community. Can you guys hear the volume? There's music on there. Here's a view from, if you're sitting at the pool, what you're seeing. So it's really, we went for a mixture of kind of a very rustic feel at the pools. And then the buildings are actually quite modern. So the buildings are all, they feel very modern. Here's the second pool with waterfalls.
You built everything?
Built everything, yeah. Here's an idea of what the hotel room looks like. Most of our hotel rooms all have private jacuzzis on the balconies with ocean views.
Okay.
And then here's an idea of what our villas look like. This is one of our 3-bedroom villas. So again, they're very spacious. These are about 120 square meters, overlooking the pools. They all have private kitchens, private jacuzzis, ocean views, very modern, but we kept the interior of the grounds very rustic. I planted every one of these trees that you see.
Okay.
It was a barren hill when I got there. So the location is great. It's overlooking Montañita. Here's our spa. We're about 50 meters from the bus stop, the entrance of town. For those that don't know Montañita, so I'm going to stop here for a second because this is going to give you an idea of the location. This is the valley that we're in, and you can see right ahead of us is Montañita. So this is Montañita. So we're literally the hills right in front of Montañita.
Okay.
And we own all of these hills here for lots. So the idea is a hotel in the middle. All of these hills here are allotted for sales. It's all overlooking. You can see that's the soccer field in Montañita right there. So we're literally overlooking Montañita. There's a gym, and then we have a boxing studio. He's made it into his own gym. And then we have a restaurant also.
Okay.
This is a promotional video that we recently did, so you can get an idea of how we're selling the hotel. It's definitely a younger crowd in Montañita. So we're targeted towards younger people. This gives you a nice tour. We're running this promotion. Some of the same stuff you're seeing.
Locals or foreign guests more?
You see, this is the main building in the hills behind it. What'd you ask, Andres?
You have more local or foreign people coming to the hotel?
I just want to stop it on the next page. All right, so we'll just stop it here. And these are some of the things I want to talk about with you guys. So traditionally, we've always, I built I'm a surfer and a kite surfer. So, and I came here as a backpacker 20 years ago almost. So I kind of built it with that in mind. But as we've grown the hotel, we really, I'd say 80% of our customers are Ecuadorians. And so the pandemic actually hasn't been as bad as it could have been for us if 100% of our business was all international. Now that 20% of the people that aren't coming right now, that's still a big chunk of people. I mean, we do a lot of business. We're definitely the biggest hotel and development in Montañita. And you know, as far as we've been, you know, as far as developments, we're the only one in Montañita. So we have seen, you know, international real estate go down a little bit, but the hotel since the pandemic has come back a bunch. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit right now.
Yes.
Montañita is very different. Montañita and alone are very different than Monta in that it's very, very international. You know, but we also are only 2 hours from Guayaquil. So we get a tremendous amount of business from Guayaquil, from Monta, from everywhere actually, in Ecuador. And so we've been able to kind of survive the pandemic okay. So kind of the major trends that I'm seeing since the pandemic has started. The major trends we've seen a general trend towards condos and villas and long-term reservations and weekends. So we've had to adjust our business a lot to kind of to make up for what happened over the last year. So a year ago when the pandemic hit, we had to basically shut down for 6 months. So we shut down until August. We opened up at the end of August. What we saw immediately was people leaving Guayaquil. So people started coming from the cities right away and have basically filled up the holiday for the weekend, filled up the hotel for the weekends. The second thing that we saw were long-term reservations starting to come in from overseas. So generally before the pandemic, I never would have taken a long-term reservation because we made so much more money on daily and weeklies. But I've taken about 20% of our reservations in our condos and long-term reservations in our 3-bedroom units and our 2-bedroom units. So that's kind of how we've adjusted the business during the pandemic to really kind of survive the loss of basically all of our business during the week in international travel. The other trend that we've really capitalized on since the pandemic is a move from using the channels like Booking and Expedia to direct reservations through Facebook and Instagram. So Montañita states and the Mi Hotel, we have 250,000 followers on Facebook that I've built up over the last 5-6 years and 62,000 followers on Instagram. And I'd say before the pandemic, we probably did 80 to 85% of our reservations through the channels, through Booking, Hotels, Hotels.com, Expedia, TripAdvisor. Now we're doing almost 90% of our reservations direct. And so what that does for us is it saves us a ton of money. Those who work with Booking and Expedia who don't know, They take about 14% to 25% of the fee, plus a 5% credit card fee. So you're losing 25, 30% off the top. So what it's allowed us to do is lower our prices and increase our occupancy on direct reservations. It's been great because I never would have been able to figure that out without the pandemic. Before the pandemic, we were so full all the time of reservations on these channels that it took us shutting them off, because when we shut them off, they actually shut off for a lot longer, that we saw that we didn't need them anymore, that we'd built our reputation up enough that we didn't need booking. Now we've built the reputation of Montañita Estates for 5, 6, 7 years now. So, and we're working with influencers, we're working, you know, we're pretty sophisticated in the way we're doing social media marketing. But now 80, 90% of our reservations are just coming online through Facebook and Instagram, which is very cool. I mean, in a typical weekend, the hotel and condos, we have over 100 people. So, you know, and I think if I did shut off booking in Expedia, I haven't, but if I shut them off, I think we could be 100% doing all of our reservations through social media. Yeah. So, you know, something that I'm doing is I'm continuing to invest and focus on social media. And we hire photographers, we give photographers residencies in the hotel. We hire people who are experts in social media, and we let them live in the hotel for free. And I work very carefully with closely with them. And it's been very, very powerful. And to be honest, that's been a very good thing for the hotel overall, for the long-term trend. Back to number 1 on here, the move towards condos and villas. We were actually pretty positioned for this even before. I actually started off as a vacation rental 8 years ago, and that was before that market existed in Montañita. When I moved here, there was VRBO was the website, TripAdvisor had Flipkey, there was no Airbnb. And in all of Montañita and Olón area, there were only 7 vacation rentals. And so when I started, I was actually, I built my first 4 condos. We were, you know, 4 of 11 vacation rentals. At that same time, if you went to Costa Rica or Tamarindo, which I spent a lot of time, you would have had 2,000 or 3,000 competitors. So we actually positioned ourselves right from the beginning as the vacation rental company in Montañita. So we're able to do that, and I continued to invest. What we ran into was culturally, people from Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, they actually didn't really know what a vacation rental was yet. They came and they expected it to be a hotel. They wanted reception, they wanted pools, they wanted daily maid service. And so we actually had to build on all those things in order to service our Latin customers. And so we built that. We built the restaurant, we built the pools, we built the gym, we built the reception. But then Airbnb happened. And Airbnb, what we found is Airbnb has been around for the last several years. If you look at my point number 3, and it caught on probably in the US 2-3 years ago. But we didn't really see it hit in Ecuador until now. So one of the big trends I'm seeing right now during the pandemic is that we're starting to see a lot more Airbnb. And Airbnb is different. I don't know if you guys know the difference between Booking and Expedia, but with Booking.com, you pay when you arrive at the hotel. Booking doesn't charge you. Hotels.com, if you go to Expedia and Hotels.com, you pay right when you do the reservation. So that's very common in the US. Most Americans will use Hotels.com. Latin culture and Ecuadorians have all figured out that Booking.com, if they put a reservation in, they don't actually have to pay. Airbnb charges you like Hotels.com. So this is actually a cultural shift for Ecuadorians and the way they use their credit cards. What we're seeing is a lot more prepay for credit cards because they want the product that Airbnb has. They want condos, they want villas, and they're willing to actually prepay reservations with credit cards. Whereas before they were never willing to do that. So before they would go on Booking, they give you your credit card number, but they could do a fake credit card because they knew that the providers down here wouldn't check if their credit cards were real. So that's a really interesting trend because it's Hotels.com and Expedia couldn't push Ecuadorians to give credit cards in advance. Airbnb can. Why does that make a difference? Is because 40% of the reservations that come in on booking are fake. And that is a killer if you're an operator, if you're a hotel, if you're a condo. And Garrett and I were talking about this earlier, somebody that only has two or three condos.
Yes.
If
Great.
50% of your reservations are fake reservations and don't show up, it kills your business.
Yes.
So this trend towards Airbnb, customers, Ecuadorians culturally starting to pay with credit cards in advance is a very good trend for the hotel and condo market.
It changed the culture. Airbnb changed the culture. I mean, the pandemic helped in order for everybody change that culture. I don't know if it wasn't happen the pandemic, it would have changed the culture. But now I see everybody like renting something with Airbnb, paying before going, and
that didn't exist a year ago. That did not exist before the pandemic. It just didn't. I mean, one of the things that Airbnb did, unfortunately, is they flooded the market. So I think there's going to be a shakeout in Airbnb because we went from 7 properties in Montañita a few years ago to over 500 or 1,000 properties that are listed on Airbnb because they don't charge for listings. This is just in Montañita alone. But a lot of those listings are terrible listings. They're hostels. They're hostel rooms that people have realized that they want to be in Airbnb. So I think there's going to be a shakeout in Airbnb. But overall, Ecuadorians paying in advance with real credit cards is really good for the market. That shift culturally, because it allows people like us to fill our hotels,
yes,
to fill our condos, and invest more, make them nicer. So that's been really good. I was always well positioned and right now my hotel is probably split 50-50 between condos and villas and the hotel. But Garrett and I were talking about the next 2-3 years. My goal would be to go more towards the condos and villas and less towards the hotel rooms, because that's where I think the market's going. And we definitely plan to continue our investment in Montañita alone in that market.
You definitely keep going to keep investing in Montañita. So, have you saw some investment in Manta?
So I actually like the Montañita and Alone market much more than Manta. I think everybody, is entitled to their opinion. I live in Santa Marinita right now, just so everybody knows, which is why you introduced me as from Manta. I came up here in the pandemic, and that's for kite surfing because I love kite surfing. And I've just decided I want to kite surf every day, so I'm going to kite surf in front of my house.
Well, I said it before. I think like Santa Marianita is one of the best points in the world for kite surfing. I think
it really is. Yeah, and I kite surf it every day. I love it here. I absolutely love Santa Marianita, and I think it's actually a great investment. I think it's tremendously undervalued and underdeveloped. And get in touch with Garrett for that because it's really an outstanding place. The two markets are very different. So my focus is on daily, weekly rentals. I like to rent on Airbnb for between 1 night and 1 week. And in that 1 night, 1 week, I can make more than I would make in a month.
Yes.
And we're full all the time. I don't have enough units. If I can keep building because of the foot traffic of Montañita, I would keep building. And I plan to. So the foot traffic is so good in Montañita for restaurants, international tourism, nightlife, surfing, that it's just an outstanding place to have a rental business. I like living here because it's quiet.
It's a total opposite, I think.
It's the total opposite. I lived in Montañita for 9 years, and now I've got 2 kids. I've got another one on the way. I live in the middle of nowhere now. I live 20 minutes outside of Manta, and all I hear is the ocean at night. And I love that. I will keep my business in Montañita. It's a fantastic place to have a business, and it's growing. It's growing. There's just not enough beds for all the tourism that it's getting. Booking comes in and would meet with me regularly. And Montañita is actually Booking.com's 4th biggest destination in the entire country. So number 1 is Quito. Number 2 would be Guayaquil. Number 3 would be the Galapagos. And number 4 is Montañita.
Okay.
So when you think about it, we only have 1,000 residents. And we are right behind cities of 3 million people.
Yes.
And cities were ahead of Cuenca and Manta, you know, as far as reservations. And this is before the pandemic. So Cuenca, we're probably even with Cuenca. I'd say Cuenca's actually come up a lot too. But you're right, Booking.com is actually selling more hotel rooms in Montañita than they are in Manta. And then also just the infrastructure on the coast for hotels is terrible. I mean, if you look at Montañita Estates and the project that we have, and then you think about the top 10 hotels on the coast of Ecuador. Now, take out Galapagos, take out the cities, take out Cuenca, Quito, and Guayaquil. My hotel is in the top 7 hotels in the entire coast of Ecuador. Not only as far as size, but just how nice it is. You know, there's some other small boutique stuff. But like, if I went to Costa Rica or Panama or any of these other countries out there, Mexico, you know, I would have had to go up against multi-million-dollar developments. The infrastructure on the coast for the hotel industry is so underdeveloped in Ecuador. It's incredible. So it's a tremendous opportunity, and Alone and Montañita are capitalizing on it. There's just not enough beds there. Now, Manta, on the other hand, for the retiree market, for the market that Garrett is focused on, is much better than Montañita.
I don't think
I can't tell you.
A retired person wants to retire in Montañita.
Nah, man, I came there 10 years ago, and I can't tell you the number of gringos that I'm 42, so I came when I was 32. But we would be driving down the road and Alone, and I was a surfer, and I like, you know, it was rough when we got there. It was really, really rough. It's come up a lot, but it was rough. But the number of befuddled retirees that were there, just that looked like they were gonna, you know, die of a heart attack on the side of the road because, you know, there's no healthcare there. The roads are all dirt roads. You know, it's changed a lot and it's really developed a lot, but it still isn't Manta for a retiree. Manta, if you need hospitals and you need infrastructure and you care if the electricity goes out, come to Manta. But if for the more adventurous type, if you're younger, I mean, Montañita and Alone are the best place in the world. I mean, it really is a fantastic place.
Quiero hacer un paréntesis, Robert, and I want to say in Spanish for everybody who watch this, is that aquí tenemos una persona que vino de otro país y vio una oportunidad de negocio, de construcción en nuestro país. Y le ha ido excelente, no le alcanzan las unidades, necesita más unidades, ¿verdad? Entonces, un poco ese llamado a todas las personas visionarias, ¿verdad? Que hay oportunidades en este país, las hay. Entonces, un poco abramos nuestra mente, salgamos del statu quo y veamos esas oportunidades que el Ecuador nos presenta, sobre todo en la industria inmobiliaria, que es a lo que BR está un poco enfocado, ¿verdad? Entonces, aquí tenemos un vivo ejemplo de Robert, ¿no?
No, I mean, exactly what you're saying. I mean, it's shocking to me to say that I have one of the top 10 hotels in the coast of Ecuador, because I could never say that if I had gone to any of these other countries or in the US. Yes. In the US, I couldn't say it'd be in the top 2,000, but there's this opportunity on the coast in the hotel industry, which is just outstanding. I mean, there's so much room too. It's not like it's going away, you know. And a lot of there's some other factors. I mean, the coast of Ecuador could have 100 more hotels, and there would still be room. You know, it's not like the pod is going away. I mean, there's some factors there that I've had to deal with. That, you know, debt is very difficult and expensive in this country. But it's not just the hotels; it's the short-term rental industry also. So for those people that don't want to be in the hotel industry, the rental industry. I mean, Garrett, how many condos do you have available right now for rent?
Zero.
Exactly.
Everything's rented.
Everything is rented at good prices. And so, you know, we've seen this huge demand of people come from the cities out to the coast, and there's just not enough beds in the coast for all the rentals. So whether it's my place where I focus on daily weeklies, or Garrett that's focused more on monthlies, there's just this huge demand out there for what we have here. And, you know, even in a depressed market like the pandemic right now, has actually expedited some really nice trends in social media and credit card adoption, so things like that.
I got a quick question. You know, that's amazing what you've done down there, Robert. But for somebody out there looking for an investment, a return, like you said, there's a shortage of homes down there. There's a shortage of beds. And you mentioned that you have lots available on that mountainside. Can you talk a little bit about like how many lots available, the price range, and if somebody came in and bought it, could they build something and rent it out? If they wanted to rent it out,
so the model
management down there.
The model that we set up is that because in properties, property management on the coast is very, very difficult. But by building a hotel at the center of my development, where we have maintenance people on staff, where we have a reception for people to check in, where we have guards that are pulled through the development, we're able to actually manage properties very easily. Like I'm living in Santa Marinita kite surfing every day, and I have people managing it all for me. That's very difficult to do in this country, and you need to have a critical mass of properties. So we've built that. So we have 20 properties left. We sold through about half the development. For my hotel, I've actually developed only about 60% of the land that I have. So I have another 40%. So the idea would be to grow at least double the hotel and condos that I own. I have partners on the land for about 2 hectares of the land. Lots start at $38,500. So very cheap. On a lot that you buy for $40,000, you could build a multi-unit condo, and then we would manage it for you. Huh?
The size of that lot
is about 200 meters.
Okay.
We're selling right now for between 100 and 200 a meter.
Okay.
For an ocean view property overlooking Montañita.
Yeah, it's good.
We have condos that start at about 100,000. Let me know if you can still hear me. We have condos that start at about 100,000, and then we do direct financing. So I actually finance people directly. So for land, you can come in and you can put $10,000 down and pay over 2 years. For condos, you can put as little as $75,000 down, and we'll finance you over 1 to 3 years. And then our target buyers are income properties. Anybody that knows about Montañita and alone knows that Montañita is a difficult place to retire, but a tremendous place to have an income property, just based on the foot traffic. So if you're somebody that's looking for income properties that are full with renters, and that you can use when you want to use and rent, and it always be rented, and have somebody else manage it for you, we're your guys in Montañita.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're also building a plaza. There's opportunities to partner with us. I'm definitely looking for partners on some things like my plaza, and I'll present that at the end. So, but yeah, we have a plaza also that we're building. It's 3 buildings. We've built one of the buildings already, and so we have a vision for how we want to kind of extend Montañita into our development and create really a lot of walking traffic. So number 4 here, Montañita and alone are open. I don't know if everybody's seen the news lately here in Ecuador about Carnival, but Montañita and alone are open for business. It's a little bit shocking when you go. I'm here in Santa Marinita. Monta is very much shut down. It's very conservative. I do not think that's the case in Montañita and alone. It is crazy there. It's a mixed bag, because depending on how you feel about the pandemic, businesses are functioning. We're not where we were a year ago. We're definitely far from where we were a year ago. But when you go there, it feels like life is normal. And I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody, and you can take from what you want there. But Montañita and alone are open for business right now. It's nuts there. So that's good. And from a business side, I'm very lucky for that they came back. Montañita stayed closed for a very long time, probably longer than anybody else. But when they opened, they've decided not to close again. Things are happening. We've had a lot of business on the weekends. Like I said, Guayaquil cannot wait to get out of Guayaquil, and they are coming to Montañita alone.
Yes, a lot of people from Guayaquil are going to spend the whole week in the beach, go from playas to Montañita alone. I think it's like the beaches that we from Guayaquil, Zambrano go. and people starting doing home work from there. No, a lot of people I've seen.
Absolutely. Okay, my last point. So
Yeah.
I've been in Montañita alone for a long time. When I got there, there were no developments. There were no projects, nothing. I actually lived in San Jose, just outside of Alone when I first moved there. And this was before, there was no MLS, there was no ability, there were no real estate agents. The only way to go and find property was you'd have to go drive by a house, you'd see like, you know, something spray painted on the side of a wall.
Yes.
And you would call the number. That's what it was like in 2011. And that's what I did. You know, I drove around, I talked to locals, and I found really good property. Got very, very lucky. I found good property, good prices. Back then, Alone was, I actually passed on Alone. I drove into Alone, and I said, you know what, there's nothing going on in Alone. I'm gonna go to Montañita, and I was able to buy, you know, this huge chunk of land in Montañita. So I was very fortunate. It's been very good. Alone is fantastic now. Alone is absolutely exploded in the last 9 years. When you go to Alone, there's restaurants, there's art, there's people in the street. It is absolutely a fantastic place. The beach is booming. There's people everywhere. If you want to go somewhere for a weekend, Alone is great. From a real estate,
a lot of developments now in Alone I've seen.
That was my next point. Alone has, when I got there, there was 3 developments in all of Alone, all the way down to Montañita. Now there must be 30.
Yes.
So if you want to go buy a lot in Alone, an Ocean View, there's 500 of them for sale right now.
Yes.
It is oversupplied. There's way too much empty land in Alone.
Yes. Yes.
Land has gone up a lot, prices, and so people started doing condo buildings, and there's a lot of condo projects going on. So be careful in Alone. I want to tell you, you probably have a lot of listeners that love Alone and are thinking about buying in Alone. Be careful in Alone. If you are not getting a deal that's 50% less than what they're asking, you're probably not going to make any money, because there's so much for sale over there. There's inventory for a lot of years. It's been like that since about 2016, since all these guys realized that guys like me had gone into Montañita. There's a lot of extranjeros there. There's a lot of money coming in. Montañita is still very undersupplied. And the reason for that is that the communal laws in Montañita, there's so much communal property there. There's very little title, very little title in Montañita. And all the foot traffic is in Montañita. So you're getting a lot of people out there that are like, oh, I hate Montañita, I like Alone. Guess what? They're the same investment. They're the same thing. Alone exists because Montañita is there. Montañita exists because Montañita is there. They're the same thing. Where there is undersupply right now is inside Montañita and beachfront. If you are looking for a good investment where you're going to rent properties, sell properties, you need to be looking inside Montañita and the beachfront. Anywhere beachfront is going to be fine in the cove, from Mongaralto, Montañita, Alone, Korea, San Jose, Entrada. All those areas have great beachfront. But if you're looking at the mountains of Alone and thinking that you're going to invest and make a whole bunch of money, you're not. You're just not. There's too much inventory. So be very careful. You can go in if you're going to do a big project and you've got a lot of money to invest and you can buy a big chunk of a loan, that's different, you know. But if you're thinking you're going to go into a loan and buy a $30,000 property and it's going to appreciate a ton, it's just not going to appreciate very much. So people need to be very careful with those markets, because a loan is hot. A loan is really hot right now. There's a lot of people looking at a loan.
Yes, there's a lot of projects that they go in the magazine from a loan. And they're nice projects, but yes, I've seen how the price has been going up every time. So, well, Robert, I think
I have one more thing I want to talk about real quick, because this is for me. I need help. So if you're in Guayaquil and you know a lot about restaurants, bars, events, I need a partner for my restaurant, bar, and events. So I'm looking for a partner to come into to Montañita Estates and take over my restaurant. And my contact was at the beginning of this. I'd love for somebody to reach out to me and talk to me about, and just come out and we partner on a restaurant bar, take over kind of the experience that I have at the hotel. Same thing on the spa. We have a spa. It's functioning, but you know, I'd love for somebody that is a professional in having spas come out and do the spa. We don't have nearly enough representation in Guayaquil. I'd love somebody to come out at agents for bienes raíces, and then investment development partners. I'm always open to that kind of stuff also. Well,
you can count with BR. I put it for your service, and I'm pretty sure that people are watching this webinar. I'm pretty sure they're going to get in touch with you, Robert.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thank you. Well, the time is short, so we have to say we have to call it the day here. Thank you very much. Me quedo con que para los inversionistas, los constructores, los promotores han escuchado de parte de estas personas que están en mercados un poco vírgenes, se podría decir, que hay mucha oportunidad. Así que de pronto ir un poco más allá, salir del perímetro al que normalmente hemos estado aquí acostumbrados y ver más allá de las fronteras e ir a mercados nuevos. Así que por mi parte les agradezco muchísimo. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros, por compartir sus experiencias, sus anécdotas pues, y sus trabajos con nosotros. Garrett, Robert, Ricardo, muchísimas gracias. Gracias por estar acá. Bendiciones para todos y que sigan sus negocios prósperos en este país.
Thanks, guys.
Muchas gracias, Andrés. Ciao, guys.
Chao, gracias.